We do have a small amount of rain coming down, but right now our biggest issue weather-wise is that wind, and you can see it out on the lake. I want to step out of the shot and give you a look at what we're talking about. Well, Maureen, imagine this scenario. You're watching TV on your couch with your family in the middle of a big storm, and the next thing you know, this happens. Half of a tree comes crashing down onto the porch of your home. So you usher your kids out of the house just for safety, and hours later, the other half of the tree comes crashing down, this time in your driveway. This is literally the end of the road for us driving into Breezy Point, Queens. The community's not only dealing with severe flooding, they also had a 6-alarm fire that burned more than 100 homes to the ground. 2 days after Hurricane Sandy caused massive power outages and historic flooding here in Lower Manhattan, the city is just starting to get back up on its feet. I'm Tina Shively. Tonight on Fox Rochester News, First at 10. New poll numbers show a close race between the two candidates who want to represent Rochester in Washington. Hours after the fire started, the scene is still very active here tonight. In fact, smoke continues to rise from the building. I want to give you a look at what it looks like right now.
Tina Shively is with CBS News, and she joins me now live from Farmington, New York.
I'll tell you the latest information that we've learned this afternoon is that the tour bus driver involved in the accident will face charges. Grief, sadness, and outrage are among the raw emotions Rather says he still feels today.
Accurately say that now, 10 years later, there's not a day that has gone by that I haven't repeated that to myself, that I will never, never, ever forget it.
Police say Smith will face charges of endangering the welfare of a child, kidnapping, and grand larceny. At the Public Safety Building, Tina Shively, News 8. This is one of the cars actually confiscated as evidence as part of Operation Snowbird. We want to show you how police say they transported the drugs. They say the suspects folded down the backseat of the car, stashed the drugs in that hole, and closed it back up. They say this car alone could carry 7 kilos of cocaine. So that even for someone like me who doesn't really know all that much about football, today's game is kind of tough to watch. Joining us now live at Greece Athena Middle School, CBS News national correspondent Jim Axelrod. A lot of people contributing to an online fund set up for Klein. Close to $450,000 at last look.
My
Jim,
goodness.
I know you spoke with her at length as well. Any idea what she plans to do with all that money? A local group of bike riders paid tribute to a woman who was killed taking part in the sport that she loved. Heather Boyum was part of a group called Moms in Motion. Rochester police say they have a plan for dealing with the city's recent increase in gun violence. It's called the Cool Down Detail.
ATM fruit machines. I mean, an apple,
yeah,
you know.
Sounds great. We're going to talk about weather now, though.
Yeah.
You can keep thinking about that. We'll talk about that again later.
Can I have a pen?
Storms, yes.
Yeah, we actually have some storms rolling in tomorrow.
This is breaking news from News 8.
Good evening, I'm Tina Shively. Thank you for staying with us tonight. That victim has not been identified, but police say she was killed in a freshman dorm on the SUNY Brockport campus. We have the story covered from all angles tonight. Good morning. We begin with breaking news. Rochester-based film giant Kodak files for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. For most of the last century, Kodak has been a mainstay, not only here in Rochester, but as part of the American culture. News 8's Maureen McGuire takes a look at the company's past, present, and future. Bill's CEO told reporters that this idea was a non-starter, that there was nothing to it. Will you proceed with this without their support?
Now, let me say this.
Search continues tonight. Again, police want to remind the community that Miles should be considered armed and dangerous, and that anyone with any information is urged to call 911. Maureen? This is now the third time that you've gone to bat for this company. Why the interest? Why is this so important to you?
They're making money. For somebody to take all the sweat and blood of the workers and the management and just say, we're sending it off to China? No way.
Well, what do you get when you take a grandma and you add Pop Rocks? It's called Viral Video Gold. We'll have the rocking experience coming up next.
And our Tina Shively is the only local reporter on the ground downstate. She reports from Freeport, Long Island.
This boat is some of the damage left behind in the aftermath of Hurricane Sandy. Not only is it tipped over in the middle of the parking lot, it's about 50 feet away from shore. It's all part of the damage that firefighters come from hundreds of miles away to help clean up.
All-day project, we're going to be looking for companies to volunteer.
Some of these men and women are running on little to no sleep. Some are suffering in the aftermath of Hurricane Sandy. All are firefighters, and 8 are from Monroe County. They're temporarily taking orders from a new boss who desperately needs their help.
We've had major storms before, but nothing can compare to what we just experienced with Sandy.
Since they made the 400-mile trip early Wednesday morning, they've gone on all kinds of calls, from house fires to hazmat.
You guys know all about the power. Your breakers are all good.
Today they went door to door to check on businesses and families like the Lees.
About 3.5 feet of water in the house. It's not livable.
The storm surge from Sandy was strong enough to knock over her refrigerator and send her dock into her side yard.
We've never seen water like this. My family's been here 80 years.
A family connection makes the devastation really hit home for one of the firefighters. He stopped to check in on his cousin's fish market, also in Freeport, also destroyed, and also here 80 years.
It's just tough. I mean, you see the devastation that everyone's going through, but it's a little bit more personal when you have family involved.
Wearing his father's World War II flag around his neck, this man begged the North Greece firefighters for help. Sandy tangled another flag he cherished from Vietnam around a power line, and he was overjoyed to get it back.
We're going to make it, because we're Americans. God bless America.
The North Greece group and another group from Henrietta plan to be here until at least Saturday to help out with the effort. In Freeport, Tina Shively, News 8. This is where my career began 10 years ago, just weeks before September 11th, 2001. Today, things look a little different here at the CBS News Broadcast Center, but my old office and the relationships I made here still remain. This is Melissa Serrano, a former co-worker and a friend, and a big part of my September 11th story. That morning started like any other with a bus ride to work until I overheard another passenger say a plane had hit the World Trade Center. I crossed the street, checked the monitors in the lobby, and saw the North Tower up in flames. In my office, I found Melissa on the phone with her mom. Her dad, William Valcarcel, worked in the South Tower.
She said, I know everybody's just waking me up, but I just spoke to your father. He said he was fine. It was not his building. He told me not to worry.
She hung up and we got to work. Phone calls began flooding in from news producers who knew they'd need video of the towers before the accident. Then the unthinkable. Another plane, another crash, another telephone call.
I was kind of frozen for a little bit, and then I picked up the phone and I called my dad and I left him a message. I know you're probably really busy right now, but call me because we're worried.
That message was never returned. Melissa waited for a car service to take her home, confused and afraid. At Ground Zero, the rescue and recovery effort continued around the clock with no sign of William. It was a few days before I went home to my family, feeling grateful that it hadn't been touched by the tragedy. During that time, seeing the photos and flyers of lost loved ones was the hardest part for me, what seemed like endless appeals for help. On September 13th, those appeals hit home when I saw Melissa begging for help on local TV.
He's a paraplegic. He has a knee fusion on his left leg. He wears a shoe, a black shoe with a 3-inch sole on his left leg. He cannot walk down the stairs. He needs help getting out.
Rescue workers eventually found William's bone fragments, allowing Melissa's family to have a proper burial. They had the street she grew up on named William Valcarcel Place in honor of her dad. Melissa soon left CBS. When she got married, I was there. And later on, Facebook allowed her to share pictures of her growing family. Just months ago, another national event brought all the memories back.
The night that President Obama came out and said that bin Laden had been killed. And I was on the desk that night, and I just remember thinking about you a lot.
My husband calls me, get up, this is real. And I said, okay. I turned on the TV, began to call my sister, and no sooner did she pick up the phone than I just break out in tears.
While she's happy Osama bin Laden is gone, it won't bring her dad back. It's a loss she will never recover from.
As time has passed, it's gotten harder for me because there's times in my life when I want him there, I want him, and he's not there. And so that reality for me has been tough. So even 10 years later, I still struggle.
As we remember the 10th anniversary as a nation, I will remember William, the thousands of others who lost their lives, and where I was when I realized the world would never be the same.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Love you.
I love you too.